Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland,
New York,
New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan,
Massachusetts,
Georgia,
Canada,
Our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head, Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club,
and Wilderness Lodge.
and you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening to my
DVC voice.
Well, welcome home, everybody, to episode 43 of Community Hall Live Podcast. My name is Shad Pennycuff. I am your host tonight, and I would like to start off the show with a huge shout out to Monera Financial, our sponsor for tonight's show. If you are looking to buy a DVC resale contract and think direct is the only way to get financing, think again. Monera Financial has got your back. More importantly, if you're paying more than 9.9% on a DVC loan, they can refinance that for you, and we have helped community members and our listeners save hundreds of thousands of dollars through these refinance programs. Go ahead and check them out, monerafinancial.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points podcast, and I'm sure they will be glad to help you out and help you put together that dream deal or even refinance and put some cash back into your pocket every month. monerafinancial.com. Now, I'd like to take off on tonight's show, and we are talking about the best pools and slides in all of DVC. This is a show that I've talked about doing for a long time, and I got really excited when Gina threw it up on the producer schedule that we were going to do this. So I'm going to welcome to the show some of our DVC pool and slide experts, and let's welcome in today Sandy. How you doing today, Sandy?
Hi, Chad. I'm doing great. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Sandy, where's your home resorts at, and how long have you been a member?
So we are home resorts at Vero Beach, as well as the Polynesian, and we've been members since 2016.
Awesome. And then let's welcome back to the show, Caleb Allison. Hey, Caleb, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Caleb, where's your home resorts, and how long you been a member?
Well, let's see. The home resorts are Animal Kingdom Lodge, Riviera, Copper Creek, and Saratoga. And we've been a member for 3.5 years now.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think this is the first time on our live community hall show, but let's welcome Miss Rebecca from our Plus Platoon show. Welcome.
I'm just going to say, I'm missing Kate. I don't know where Kate is. Derek is backstage. These are not my people that I'm used to, but let's see how it goes.
We're your people.
We're your people.
We're your people, and we're nicer too. We're nicer. We're going to prove that tonight, Rebecca. We're going to prove that we are much nicer, and you're more welcome here. But Rebecca, where do you and Willie call home resorts, and how long have you guys been members?
The Polynesian was his first contract, and then added on to Copper Creek as well as the Riviera just earlier this year. And he's been a member since 2019, I believe.
Okay, I see a trend. Every time Disney comes out with a new resort, there's a little bit of add-on-itis that kicks in.
It's so much harder, too, when you're 25 minutes away to just, why not have more points to stay more weekends? So,
yeah, it makes perfect sense to me when you guys are that close and you don't have to buy flights and, oh, I forgot something. Let me run home and grab the bathing suit, and you're back within an hour. So
exactly.
Yeah, love that. Well, Sandy, go ahead and kick off our show tonight.
So we'd like to ask all of you, which pools, slides, or splash pads are the best for families at the resorts? So I'll kind of kick it off with what I think. We at Walt Disney World loved the splash pad at the Polynesian and at Kidani Village. We also really like at Kidani that it's kind of a half playground, kind of half splash pad. So if you don't necessarily want to get soaked and drenched, then you don't have to. Olani's splash pad, however, in my opinion, is amazing and wins hands down above all of them, along with all of, the entrances to the lazy river around it, as well as like the water slides that they have built into the volcano. It's the bomb. And then I would have to say, out of all of the resorts that we've stayed at, that Vero Beach is probably my favorite as a parent. So let me get a little bit into this in the sense that...
Yeah. Now, why?
Okay, so this is the reason. So as a parent, when you have littles, especially when they're 2, 3 years old and kind of getting into being big kid territory of 8 years old or so, you need to keep an eye on them constantly at the pool. And so what's great about Vero is that you can set yourself up on the pool deck and be able to supervise them going to the splash pad as well as running up and down the water slide and coming out into the pool without leaving your deck chair. So while you're sipping on your drink, you can still keep an eye on your kids and not have to worry about them getting out of eye shot. So that for me was a big thing as far as our first couple of trips. Whenever we would go down to Vero, between the other resorts, we kept going back time and time again, just because of that pool area is great for that, for supervisory purposes. And I'll get into my pet peeves later. So Caleb, what do you think? What are your favorites so far?
Well, I have to agree with you on the things about the Polynesian. That splash pad area there is really, really great. My daughter loved it. However, I have to say that underneath some of the parts of the splash pad, it gets pretty deep. And so my little, he's about 30 inches or so. And so, I mean, it comes all the way up to his neck. And so I'm not too fond of that splash pad just for him. But for someone that's, actually grade school would love it. I like the poly pool, the lava pool as well, because of the hot tub being there. But again, it's kind of away from your littles, so you can't really keep an eye on them at all. So for me, the best splash pad for families is actually the paddock pool at Saratoga. It checks all the boxes of what I need as a family. The splash pad is right there, and it's not too deep. There's a water slide that is an excellent water slide. The pool itself is not too big, where you have like lots of little nooks and crannies where you can't see. And probably most important for my kids is they like to eat constantly. And right there we have a quick service to get a hot dog, hamburgers, whatever. And I can get a drink. I can refill my mug. And sometimes also we slum it in the studios, and there's a laundry facility right there at the paddock. So we can do everything we need right there, all for our family. So the paddock for me is the best. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't beat the paddock.
I also really love Riviera. Just because the lounge chairs, they have those big fluffy cushions, and so you can just sit there, and there's lots of shade and tons of seating there. And Bar Riva is like 2 steps away out the gate. I kind of knock down any place where I have to go outside of the pool area to get food and drink. So that's why Riviera kind of goes down for me. And okay. Rebecca, what about you?
That's most places though. Yeah,
absolutely.
For me, it's a little bit different because I do not have children. So I don't really spend a lot of my time at the splash pads. But the ones that I have noticed that have stuck out to me a lot are the Polynesian and Kidani Village, as well as Wilderness Lodge. Polynesian obviously has the 0 entry pool, the bars right there for parents and, for older adults and stuff like that. I also really do enjoy, what was the second one that I said? The Polynesian, Wilderness Lodge, with obviously the playground area that's right next to it, and the walkway kind of all the way around where the boats are and stuff. I love walking on the dock and seeing the geyser point and everything like that. I think it's just a really nice atmosphere. Those two for me really, really stick out based on the ones that I've seen. And Kidani Village as well. I like that they have a kind of like a secondary slide for the kids there, and so they don't have to go down the big huge one.
A little kiddie slide.
Yeah. Super fun.
Okay, well, I
Chad,
guess
what do you think?
Okay, so I think you gotta give a lot of props over to Sivu Play over at Riviera because it's heated. Now I know Copper Creek is technically heated too, but you've got all that lovely stonework over at Riviera, and it just retains the heat. So when you go in there and it's slightly chilly, man, that's just kind of nice. And little kids, they don't pay attention. They're just going to be out there running, whatever. They're going to come back little shivering icebergs if they don't have heated water to start to play in. So I really want to talk that up. And then for little kids, you're going to hear me talk about this later, but little kids, you can't beat Jumbo House. And the reason why is you can be in the pool and the little tykes can walk themselves up the slide and come down, and you never take eyeballs off of them the whole time, right? So you're in the pool, you can see them the whole time up and down. And so that's a really, really good thing for little tiny kids, okay? It's bad if you really like a slide because the slide's nothing to write home about because there's no twists and turns and other stuff to it. But for little kids and keeping an eye on them, you can't beat that. For just an immaculate, massive play area that you could lose a kid in, you can't beat the Menahune Bridge over at Alani. I mean, let's just be honest. That thing is just, a water park thing on steroids. People have asked me, what do you think about Alani and pools? And I'm like, well, if you're from the Midwest, you know of Great Wolf Lodge. Mm-hmm. And Alani is really the Great Wolf Lodge. It's like a hotel water park that's all outdoors for Hawaii because the locals just bombard it on the weekends and they bring their kids and their family there just the same way we bombard Great Wolf Lodge on the weekends if it's near us. Mm-hmm. So that one you really got to give a lot of props to for the kids and family. And then Copper Creek, you got the big bucket. I think you got a huge dump bucket, which my kids absolutely love as well over at the Grand Floridian. And Caleb, I think you hit a really key point there at Saratoga that if it comes to kids' play areas, you want it small enough that they can't get away from you, but you also want it in its enclosed individual fence area so that they just can't slip away and pop into the other pool. Like at Menahune Bridge, I know there's lifeguards every place, but they could get off that bridge and right down into the zero entry for the lazy river. So that one's kind of a little bit of a knock there. And our kids are now to the point where at Copper Creek, I sit there and chill out in the hot tub. And I'm like, yo, you come back every 3 minutes and just let me know you okay? Like, I guess that's lazy parenting, I guess, but it works because they keep running back and forth and checking in quite regularly. So I think that would be my top picks for families from what I've seen in DVC so far. And the Hilton area was kind of cool. It's small and contained, so they can't really get too far away from you. But there are some areas behind the slides where you're going to lose sight of them. If they're on the slides, you're not going to know where they're at. So that's kind of my take on best pools for family. Let's come back in and see what some of the listeners that are tuning in live said. And Renee saying, my son loved the splash pad at Wilderness Lodge, but we haven't been to Vero yet. I have a feeling that will win out. And Kathy Devlin here says, that sounds great at Vero. My biggest downside about Beach Club. And Beach Club is just so huge, okay? It does have that really, really, really cool sand area that's all filtered pool water and sand, so your kids can build a sand castle and all that stuff, and it's really shallow for little kids. The problem is it's massive and there's 50 million kids there, so if you're trying to keep eyeballs on your little one, it can be difficult if you're not right there with them or leash them the whole time, right? Mike says, Kidani was great for our little ones where they may be scared of slides. Our 2 and our 4-year-old just love the splash area, hours and fun, plus food by the pool for dad. And the other great thing is you got all those water cannons there as well. So if they don't want to get full blown wet, they can sit there and, try to hit dad with the water cannons, which my kids are really good at.
I thought that the food at the bar at the Kidani area was really, really good. We were just there a couple of weeks ago, and it was amazing to it's right outside the gate. Some of them you have to walk a little bit farther. This one is you just exit the gate and it's right there and you were able to go right back into your spot. So it was really nice. Yeah,
the pool at Kidani, I've got a lot of love for. I really like it as well. You'll hear more about that later. So Ron's saying that she loves the Kidani area. Mike is also saying the Kidani splash pad looks cool, but he doesn't have kids either. Ron's saying the wife and I were in agreement that the slide at BLT was awful. It was actually the almost painful as we went down. We'll pick up on that comment later, Ron. And then somebody on Facebook says Paddock Pool at Saratoga is great for what you're describing regarding kids and going by themselves on the slide. And Catherine saying, Chad, I do that at Hilton Head they can't go anywhere really, but they can be in the hot tub, and she's obsessed with hot tubs. And yes, so am I, as you can tell from my background photo, which, spoiler alert, is the adult-only hot tub. That's the Zero Infinity one at Alani.
That's epic, though, as far as hot
That's
tubs
epic,
go.
right?
It's just epic.
Yeah, it's just epic. And then Amy was saying, my kid is big now, but he loved the Kidani splash pad when he was little. So, okay.
So before we move on to the next question, though, do you guys have any pet peeves about the splash pads? I have one. Do we want to get into that now or later?
And we'll save that for the refurb
Okay,
question.
perfect.
Okay. Caleb, go ahead and take us home with this next one.
All right. So what we want to know is which pools and which slides are the best slides in all of DVC. So for me, as much as as far as a family pool goes, the lava pool doesn't check all my boxes. I have to say that I really, really loved being at the lava pool at Poly. The pool isn't huge, and it's got a pool bar there, so I can get my little tiki drink. I have a nice zero entry. I got the little grotto area. The slide there is pretty good. It's got the tunnel slide, so it's nice and dark, kind of throws you around a little bit because you don't know where you're going. But my favorite is the hot tub is elevated and kind of away. So this really isn't a place where, like I say, this is where I want to take my family. But when I want to go and just relax, sitting in that hot tub, it's that infinity pool or infinity hot tub as well. You're looking over the lake, you can see the castle and all the kids and things, that are running around the splash pad. They're in a separate area and they're not jumping in that hot tub with you and getting all crazy. And you really feel like you're absolutely secluded. That's my favorite as far as all of the pools go. But hands down, when it just comes to the best slide, Beach Club. Beach Club is going to take it. I mean, it's the longest, one of the fastest. Some might say it's the fastest if you throw yourself down hard enough. But it's twisting and turning, and it's an amazing, amazing slide. So that's my take. What about you, Rebecca?
So I could argue that I think the Vero beach slide is probably the fastest. I don't know what they do, but it's so fast that they actually do races every day, in the middle of the afternoon, to see how fast you can go down it. And the fastest that I had seen someone go down when we visited last summer was 6.5 seconds. I mean, they literally just throw themselves and you spin 3 times and then you're just at the bottom. So I really, really love that one because I think it's actually the most thrilling. And we were actually one of the last people to go on the Creepy Clown slide right before they tore that down to redo it. So that was kind of sentimental to me because I love the boardwalk area just in general. I know.
Rip,
but I love
Creepy
the
Clown.
Creepy Clown. I love the Creepy Clown. And then I think another one that I really did enjoy was Kidani. It was super fun to kind of go up in the mound type areas and to slide through. I really liked that it was kind of different. It wasn't super fast, but it had some tight enough turns that you kind of slid up on the sides a little bit and stuff. So those are my favorite. Chad, what do you think?
Well, I think the theming over there at Kidani is just the bomb because you're looking over a Florida marsh that really just blends right in as if it was Africa. So, because it's got all the dark brown colors out there and the light brown colors, and you're climbing up that mountain like you're going through a jungle. So I love the Kidani slide area. To me, it's one of the top 5 in DVC. Okay. Yeah. Beach Club, I love, but I don't love the fact that you gotta exit the pool. You got to go out through public area. You got to cross all of that, which requires wearing shoes. But then you're not allowed to wear shoes down the slide, so you have to climb up the thing and hold your shoes the whole time. Okay? Yeah, not a huge fan of that part. Right?
If you go on the Beach Club as well, and without your shoes, that sand starts tearing up your feet too. So it's awful no matter what.
Yeah, you have to wear shoes there. That's just kind of a given, but you can't wear them down the slide. So, right. But I love me some Keister Coaster. I think it's one of the most fun slides because it's got all of the twists and the turns, and it seems longer. I know Beach Club is technically the longest one. Paddock is actually the fastest one at Walt Disney World, and they had to detune it because people were coming down too fast and getting hurt. So after the last refurb, I think they've detuned it twice now. So that's just something to keep in mind about that Paddock slide. It is really, really fun. One of the things that I love about Riviera is it's so brand new and it's so slick that you can go down it without ripping up your back, okay, without wearing a shirt. Because a lot of times I wear the shirt, not necessarily because I want the sun protection, although it is a sun protection shirt, but I just don't want my back ripped up going down the slides. And over at Riviera, it's brand new, it's super smooth, and it does not have that, skin your back on the way down. So I got to give some props to that. What I'm not a fan of is some of the enclosed dark slides. I don't like to be in the dark going down the slide. So Polly is out for me. The Alani body slide is out for me. The tube slide there where you actually haul a tube up and you go down, that thing is pretty fun. And it's quite the challenge to come flying out of that and then not just do a big yard sale dumping everything at the end because you're coming out so fast. So that's where, if I had to go best slides in here, Alani tube slide, it's the only one that you can ride on a tube in DVC. Honorable mention to Beach Club, honorable mention to Keister Coaster. And I've got to rank that Saratoga Paddock area just high all the way around. If I'm going for best overall pool, when you factor the food, the size, the bathrooms, the laundry, the bus stop, the fact that everything is right there, it's kind of hard to beat in my opinion. But Sandy, what's your thoughts?
So I love the lava pool at Walt Disney World. So that would be kind of my tops as far as like pools at Walt Disney World. But I have to completely agree with you. It's like lava pool light compared to like the water slides and everything going on at Aulani. Once you've been to Aulani, like nothing compares out of all of the pool areas anywhere at any of the resorts. There's no comparison whatsoever. So, and I was going to say my favorite as well out of all the water slides that I've been on at Walt Disney World and at other Disney resorts is definitely the tube slide at Aulani, because not only can you do it by yourself, but you can also do it with like a family member. So the kids would fight over who would be going down with who when we would go on the tube slide, which was kind of fun. You get to have a little bit of like mom and Evie time or mom and Jacob time and dad and Evie time and dad and Jacob time. So for that, it was kind of nice. And you would race to see who would get in front of each other in line first. I would have to agree with Rebecca though, that my favorite, and it's completely for the same reasons you said, Chad, of not liking to be enclosed. So I did not like the body slide at Aulani, and I do not like the body slide at the lava pool at the Poly. Is Vero, because it's so darn fast and it's completely open.
That's the only slide I haven't been on. The only one so far, right?
It's going to have to live up to the hype, huh, Rebecca? One of the other things I really love about this slide is that if you do have like a waterproof camera or whatever, you can get, or even if you don't and you don't want to slide down with your camera, you can get amazing shots from the top of the tower there, of the beach area, of the resort, of everything. It's gorgeous. Sometimes I let people just pass by me if I see something interesting going on, or like there's fish jumping or something going on in the ocean. So that's a really nice thing too that they've got going on there. So that's pretty much my favorite, I would have to say, between the Aulani tube slides and Vero as far as like a body slide.
Okay, let's pick up some of our live comments here. And Jennifer was saying the Copper Creek from the hot tubs you can see everywhere and the geyser goes off. That is pretty epic, sitting there in the hot tub and the geyser goes off and the whole wilderness deal. Yeah, I got to give some points to that one as well. And then Mike says, I feel like Beach Club's pool should be in a different category. It completely is. It's a water park. It's a mini water park with your hotel. The same way Aulani is a slightly bigger water park with your hotel, right? Kathy Deverin saying, oh boy, I guess I need to go to Aulani then. Absolutely, positively. And it will break your heart at 8:00 at night when you get kicked out of this gorgeous pool, which is about the time I took this photo. Okay. It's just, I should just step out of the picture here, right?
In regular time periods, I believe when we were there in January last year, so January 2020, they closed around 10. So
Okay.
it's later.
Okay. Now it's 8:00 and it's just kind of disappointing because you're
It
just
is.
like,
I can see that.
oh, man, even the locals that were in the pool were like, really? We got to get out? And it's like, yeah, you got to get out. But okay. And then Mary Tracy says, we like the lava slide. Okay. Katie swears the Keister Coaster is boring and she's a huge fan of the paddock slide with High Rocks being next. And I did like the fact that High Rocks is very open. It's a very open slide. You know, all the way up, all the way down. You're never enclosed. There's something to be said for that. And then Derek is saying the paddock slide is totally the fastest. And more love here from Jordan. I love the paddock pool area. Totally underrated and great for kids. You know, I think we're giving it quite a bit of love tonight here, Jordan. So it's really ranking in the top 5. I would tell you that. Mike says, love the slide at Beach Club. My only problem with the slide is walking out of the pool area to access it. It's a little awkward to cross the pedestrian path in a bathing suit. Yep. In the bathing suit with shoes and without shoes. It's all kind of weird. But there is a really cool kiddie area, though. I know we mentioned this earlier at the bottom of that slide. When you go across the pool into the boat area, there's a little tiny mini kiddie area down in there that's hidden. You don't see it until you get ready to go up the slide. So that's a pro tip there. If you've got little kids, take them over there to the bottom of that and let them go down the kiddie slide. Kathy says, I really like the new slide at Boardwalk. I finally went there because the creepy clown was gone. Man.
Well, the
says,
Keister Coaster,
Yeah.
Keister Coaster is always going to have the Keister Coaster is going to have a special place in my heart because when they did the refurb, Chad told me, "Hey, go cover that slide," and that's the famous video where I found out that walking on a water slide is really a bad idea, and I fell right on my Keister.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
It lived
right?
up to his name.
It lived up to its name. Yeah, that was a fun video. And then Mike says, I do prefer the Kidani slide to the Jumbo one. Yeah, that Jumbo slide. It's great for little kids, don't get me wrong. But for everybody else, wah-wah. It's just, yeah. We'll cover that in the next section, okay? Mike is saying Riviera slide is pretty quick, and I think a tie for the paddock pool. Jumbo pool is so big and lots of room that it never seems crowded. That is one huge pool there. That is really something to be said for that one. And Willie's saying, he goes, I'm not the biggest slide person, but Vero was awesome. And Facebook user says, I've never been to SSR. How does paddock pool compare to the main big pool? I think it's smaller. I think it's more intimate. And it still has 0 entry. It still has a slide. You've got a great little restaurant there. You've got plenty of bar seating area there. They serve alcohol there. You've got laundry there. You've got a bus stop there. You've got an enclosed splash area off to the side. You can get really lucky if you're a pool person and get one of the Saratoga rooms that face the pool there as well. So that's kind of how I would do that. What do you guys think? How would you guys answer his question?
I think that's about right. I mean, you also have right there at the bus stop that's really, really right across the street from it. You got the ice machine there as well. Like if you need to fill up your cooler or something, well, you know, that you have to the pool. But as far as like just the size, it's just a little bit smaller. But I will say it doesn't have all the nooks like at the High Rocks pool. You have the 0 entry, but you can't see around the corner.
Yeah.
And, you know, so there's little places when we talk about that family being able to see everything, you can't do that at the High Rocks pool. So that's, it's just, like you said, it's just a little bit more intimate.
I agree.
Okay. Mike saying I'll have to check out the paddock slide and staying at Saratoga for the first time this August. Oh. Yeah, I would definitely request paddock area if you're staying there and you've booked a standard view room. And then Scott says, any pool that has a bar attached is the best in my book. And then Tina says, you know, another vote of love for the Vero slide. It looks like I'm missing out. I've got to like go knock that out here pretty soon. So
It's really not that long, but with how fast it goes and how tight the turns are, it feels like you're just kind of stuck in this loop until you eventually just pop out at the end. It's really fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Rebecca,
That's
why don't
kinda
you
how
lead
I
us off
felt
here on this
about-
next one?
Yeah, so now we want to ask you guys, which pools and slides do you think need just a little bit of a refurb? I am going to start this off by saying that I love the theming and the staircase of the Bay Lake Tower with the Mickeys and kind of that see-through vibe, but I just think that it needs to be redone so that you don't really look like you came out like you were attacked. The pain going down that slide on your back, I don't know why it hurts so much, but I just think that it needs to just be oiled up. Whatever they did at Vero, they need to do over there. I'd also say Beach Club for a reason, Chad, that you mentioned earlier. The sole point of having to leave the main area of the pool to go down the slide is just, I'm not something that's for me. I would rather be able to stay in one area. I don't want to have to put shoes on. I don't want to have to maybe carry around a mask if I get asked if I'm going over to that area. I don't want to walk past people in my bathing suit, which is super weird as well. So I wouldn't want to have to leave. So I would refurb Beach Club in that way as well. And then I think for me, refurbing the Riviera, which I know is probably a hard thing for some people to hear, but I think that it's so close to the Caribbean Beach main pool area. When we were walking around the resort a couple of times ago, I realized that I could hear the activities that were happening at the pool over there at Caribbean Beach when I was at the resort at Riviera. So if those aren't happening at the same time, you're very likely to be able to hear what's going on over there. And it would just kind of take away from the vibe of how relaxing the Riviera really is. And then lastly, I think Jumbo, really for the sole reason that Kidani's is so well done. It would just be a game changer to have two amazingly themed and impressive slides in kind of this one area, this one resort. So I think that those four probably just need a little bit, not a lot because they're all amazing, but just a little bit to kind of give them an extra push. Chad, what do you think?
I have to agree with you. I call it Bay Lake Tower, okay? Because that is it. You go down underneath it, and even while you're standing in line, you're going under the slide, and it's sitting here dripping on you the whole time. So it's just like Bay Leaky Tower, right? It's and you're just sitting back going, I hope all that's pool water dripping down. Okay? Like, so I'm not a fan of the mechanics over at Bay Lake. I think it's a fun slide.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. Now, I usually wear a shirt to all of them. So just because I don't trust it and I don't like getting my back ripped up and leaked up and all that other kind of fun stuff. But yeah, so Bay Lake and then Jumbo, man, we need to plus that up. That needs another slide in there somehow, some way that's a real legit adult slide. Someplace between the Kidani slide and it's like it's not quite a kiddie slide, but not quite an adult slide. So Jumbo really needs some plussing up. And then I think over at Alani, it would be amazing because they keep comparing that resort to a Disney cruise line. So, well, the new Disney ships have got the Aqueduct or the Aqua Mouse. And so I think if they would build in a themed water coaster over there to just top that thing off and just like take it to the next level, that would just be completely awesome. I'd love to see an Aqueduct and Aqua Mouse, some kind of a roller coaster ride that's powered with the raft that come into Alani, because the pool is so popular there. It's really hard to find a seat and it's really crowded. And so if we could do something up to take up some water capacity there, that'd be awesome. Okay. The other part that I'm going to come back in and I'm going to plus up Beach Club a little bit. It needs another slide. It needs something a little bit intermediate. It needs, because you've got those high towers there, right? You've got everything that you can walk up on and come down. So you've already got the height built required for one of these slides. Put in an intermediate slide to come down from the top of that tower and land in one of the pools. I think that would just be a game changer there, because then you don't have to feel like you have to go across the street to deal with all of that, but you can still get a slide right there in the area. Those are some of my top tips, and those are some of the things that I'd kind of fix up a little bit. And then the other thing I would do and this goes to like every pool except for like Wilderness Lodge, I'm going to make them all about a foot deeper. because Wilderness Lodge is the only one that I can stand on my tiptoes on and get up to my chin.
You like
And-
Vero then?
Yeah, I like them a little bit deeper, but not the 12-foot deep Alani lazy river. Like, that's just too deep for a lazy river.
It's a 12 feet
Very.
deep.
Right up near the snack stand, right around that back corner there is about 12 feet
Like
deep.
where it dunks from the water slide?
No, the lazy river at not at Alani, but at Beach Club. Maybe I
Oh,
misspoke
okay.
that. At Beach Club, right where it's really near the restrooms and the snack area. You go around that back corner and you can't walk it. It's too deep. So that I would fix that part of it so that you could at least walk the whole lazy river. But the lazy river there was an afterthought. But that's what I would fix. What are you thinking, Sandy?
I completely agree with you on Bay Lake Tower, but for a slightly different reason, because we actually really enjoyed the slide there, and I didn't even
Oh, it's a
think
good
about
slide.
I didn't even think about it dripping all over the place until you just mentioned it, but you are absolutely correct because I remember that now. So their splash pad for kids is like really not fun there. I don't know if everybody's gone to like the little bubbly water area, but like so not fun. And then they have this little mini slide that kind of goes off that was put in, I guess, as an afterthought. So I feel like Bay Lake Tower needs to have like a bona fide splash pad for the kids, like with water, little mini water slides and cannons and little bridges and stuff for them to like walk all over. So that's my opinion on that one. And then the other one that could use a splash pad as a mom is Hilton Head. So when we were booking our first couple of beach resort vacations with the Disney beach resorts, we were seriously looking at Hilton Head for the first couple of years, but we never ended up going because we knew that it didn't have a splash pad for the kids. And for us, that was a big thing, that they would be able to go on that when they were really little. So we ended up going to Vero time and time and again because of that. So I feel even after having visited Hilton Head that they could use something for the littles a bit more there, because
That's a fair critique. Yeah.
Yeah, because the water slide is great, but not all kids feel safe doing that at 2, 3, 4 years old. So that's I feel something that would be good. And then my pet peeve, as far as all of them, is that it feels like there's not anything in between. So you've got like stuff for littles, and then you've got stuff for big kids. But if your kid is like taller than average, they're not able to go to the splash pads because there's a height requirement. So there's a cutoff for the height. And so even with a little sibling, they'll sometimes be told that they can't do certain things on the play structures, which is kind of a bit of a drag when you're at Disney and you've got a little kid who's trying to help out their little sibling, or if they're just a little bit old, like a little bit taller for their age. So I don't know how you feel about that one, Caleb. Do you also agree on that?
Yeah, I have a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old, and my 8-year-old has always been tall for her age. And so far, when she is escorting my youngest, she has not been asked not to, but really he needs escorting. Like the last few times it was like, yes, he was walking, but going upstairs, she was a little shaky. And I know that as he's getting better and better at just being able to navigate it himself, that sure enough, there's going to be somebody that says, hey, 8-year-old, 9-year-old little girl, you're not supposed to be here. You're a little too tall. So I definitely wish that there was some leeway, a little bit, something that, hey, everybody can be on here, but if it gets a little crowded, then maybe be able to then you could start getting some of the big kids out or something. But
see, I just wait till after their bedtime and then I take over.
But I get it. It's because, it's supposed to be for little kids. And if you get the big kids, if you get enough of them all going at the same time, they're running around the play structure, knocking into the little kids and stuff. So I get it. I just feel like there's nothing kind of in between that little kid age range and that older kid age range to kind of bridge the gap. So that's my pet peeve with the pools.
Yeah, well, and even about 2 years ago, my daughter was like 1 inch over the height requirement, but her swimming skills were not adequate. So she really didn't feel comfortable in the big pool. But she's 80-90% high on her height, so she looks big, but she doesn't have the the muscle strength yet to really be a good swimmer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough.
And if you
But
have kids,
as far as
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and if you have kids that are kind of in that in between stage where they're maybe afraid of the dark, then the lava pool slide is not a great choice. And there's a bunch of other ones too that are mostly enclosed that aren't great choices either. So then they're kind of stuck not doing anything. So, anyways, what were you? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Caleb. I'm sorry.
Well, for my refurb, like Copper Creek, the aesthetics there is just out of this world. You really look like you feel like you're have been transported away, but that slide is short. I mean, I don't know if it is I don't know if it is actually the shortest of what you would say at a feature pool. Full disclosure, I have not been to Jumbo's pool yet, so I can't speak on it. But when I saw Copper Creek, I saw a kid get up there, and then like I blinked, and he was at the bottom. And it wasn't because the pool, the slide was fast. It was that short. It's got like one little tiny turn. They have that little where the
jog to the
water
left, jog
from
to the right, you out. That's it.
Yeah, and it's like they have that little overlook where the water, quote unquote, transforms from the water that's in the lobby and it goes under the bridge. How easy would it be to extend it up that way, and you're essentially sliding down the spring. You're sliding down the Copper Creek spring
nice.
in some way. It may not double it or triple it, but it would do something that would make it just a little bit better, because that thing
get on the slide
tiny.
at the top of that hill. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you have your same beach club factor if you got to get out of the pool area to get up there, but at least you're not going across like a public circle around the lake.
Right. Well, I think you can even get around that if you made the entrance kind of being to the right, like near like Roaring Fork and things. If they had like some kind of pathway up there where it just went up and that's how you came down, that you wouldn't actually have to go all the way out to where that bridge is. But that's where the top would be near where the bridge was. That would be one of my refurbs. But again, Jumbo, I've seen it, and I feel like that, all of the Imagineering that went into Jumbo House, and they did so many right things that they just ran out of money or something. And so they're like, oh, well, you can see the savannah from this pool, so it's good enough. And so I just feel like it needs more.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And I think that was a great point, to just back up the Wilderness Lodge slide right on up the hill. That makes sense to me. Okay, that really, truly makes sense to me. It'd be awesome, too, because then it could be like the twistiest, turniest, longest slide in DVC. Mm-hmm. And just use the natural hill that you already have there. But let's pick up some of our other listener comments here as well. Derek is saying, to totally agree, Jumbo needs a real slide. It's our big hesitation about staying there instead of Kidani. Unfortunately, Kidani's pool is getting a refurb for our next stay. The good news is, Derek, you can pool hop between those two pools at any given time if you're staying at either side of the resort. Mm-hmm. So you can stay at Jumbo and go use the Kidani pool if you want to, and even ride the bus. Mike was saying, do we think Kidani is even going to be better after a refurb? Any of the ideas of fun additions coming? Slide through a lion's den? Typically, when they do a refurb, they don't do a redesign. So they just kind of fix the pumps and reseal things and tighten up the concrete and that kind of stuff, mechanical. They don't really truly re-engineer them. Sometimes they do replace the slides, though, but it never really changes shape. It's just redoing the tubing. And then Mike says, the BLT slide is just okay. I love the view of Bay Lake. When you walk up the slide but the slide is just meh. Yeah, you do get a good view of Bay Lake there. And then Mike asks a good question here. He goes, why are all of the pools so shallow? Is that a Florida thing?
I think they redid them.
So I've been going through training. My position with Disney as a cast member is a lifeguard at Blizzard Beach. And so I went through all of this training, and basically we have to go through 7 different days of training, 3 that are from a third party people who specialize in lifeguard training everywhere, and then 4 that are on the job training for Disney specific areas. And there's 2 different types. So there's the shallow lifeguards, and then there's deep water lifeguards. Deep water obviously pays more, and that's anything over 5.5 feet. So anything 5.5 feet or less can be considered a shallow water lifeguard. You can pay them less. You can hire more people to do that. And anything that is 5 and 7 inches and up is going to be deep water. So Beach Club is considered a deep water lifeguarding stand, as well as both of the water parks, but all of the rest of the resorts are considered shallow. So it makes it easier for hiring processes, for everything else.
So they're saving $1 or $2 by on labor by keeping the pool shallow is what I'm hearing you say. So, okay, well, we pay dues to support all that, so I guess that's not that bad. 5.5 is good enough for me. I'm happy with 5.5.
Yeah.
I just wish they all had 5.5. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's an interesting insight. So Amy's asked the question: they could spruce up the Turtle Pond pool at Oak Key West, and it could compete with Paddock. It has food, laundry, arcade games there as well. Yep. At least they used to have them there pre-COVID. So yeah, you don't hear much love for Turtle Pond pool because there's no slide there. It's a decent sized pool. I'll give it that. It's got food, but can't hang with Paddock. I think Paddock is your best all around B, not feature pool, but B pool. If you were to call it that there is. It just nothing hangs with it as a B pool. Nothing. Like even Alani, because Alani's got the little side pools off to the side where they built more to just add more capacity, but they're really not all that special. Okay. And Amy asked the question: didn't Hilton Head have a tiny splash pad at the beach house, or was that just decorative? There were beach balls there that spit water. Yes, and they ripped that out.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because I was doing a live there and somebody told me, oh, go cover that. And so I asked a cast member, I was like, somebody asked me to cover this. Where is it? Well, you're standing right near it and what it used to be. So it did get ripped out. And Dan Austin says, having your kid play on a splash pad for 2 previous days and then on the last day being told that they couldn't play on the splash pad is awful. A 6-year-old should be allowed no matter the height. Yeah. And yeah, Dan, that's just got to be tough, right? I don't know why. Rebecca, do you have any insight on that policy or?
It's basically what they tell you to do when you're training is use your best judgment. So we have certain things that are very strict on height requirements based on pool depth, and then other things like the splash pads that are, you can ask them their age, you can ask them their height, but basically do the best that you can. So not every lifeguard treats it the same. And so what one person says may not be comfortable for someone else to say, and it's just basically up to the cast member at that point.
And I can see like certain heights of the equipment itself. You could hit your head once you pass a certain height, but that's if you're an adult, not if you're a kid.
Yeah,
for most
I
of
mean,
them.
it really sucks because we have certain specifications at some of our attractions at Blizzard Beach as well that are, the kid could be 12 years old and we allow 12-year-olds to go on it. But if you're over 48 inches, you can't get on. And it sucks just having them wait in the line. They're all the way up there ready to go. And you have to say, sorry, you can't, And I've had issues where people say, oh, I was able to go yesterday. What's wrong? And it's just the difference of lifeguards and what they feel comfortable with.
That makes sense. It's who's enforcing the rules and whatever discretion they have. And so, okay. So Ron was saying, sorry, this is where I should say the BLT slide needs to be fixed so you don't feel like you're getting peeled like a potato all the way down.
I feel I'll be staying
that's
there.
like the one comment we want to like submit to Disney on, right?
Caleb will be only going down on his bottom the whole time.
I feel like I'm gonna need 2 rash guards or something. I'll be staying there soon, and it'll be my first time.
You need like a wetsuit.
And I have to do the slide. It's like something I have to do.
Yeah, you have to do the slides. You have to do the slides. It's the only reason why I could say I've done them all. And Mike says, true, the BLT slide hurts. And then Amy was saying Ellis lifeguard training is very specific about pool depth. They probably pay less in insurance at those pools as well. So
There's a cutie in the room.
Yeah, so the Ellis is that third-party training that they bring in to do the training with the cast members beforehand. And basically, at that training, they teach you about how to pull people out of the water, whether they're unconscious or not, how to use backboards, how to, spinals and all these different stuff. And so the pool depth really does play a part in, if we're taking mostly children out of, resort pools, we need to be able to make sure that we can reach the bottom of the pool safely and effectively to do the job the best we can. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Is it okay if I just stay like
She's such a cutie.
Oh. We're a live show is all I can tell you, right? We're getting photo bombed and everything else.
I love it.
Well, I think that's a cue that it's about time to wrap up today's show. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Hopefully you learned something in today's show that'll help you go out there and plan something magical for your families. And I'd like to do a huge shout out and thank you to our season 5 sponsors, DVC Rental Store, Monera Financial, and DVC Resale Market. I have personally used, I haven't financed a contract, but I've used DVC Resale Market and DVC Rental Store a lot. And they are just incredible people to work with all the way around. It's been a phenomenal experience. And I hear back from a lot of you listeners that you guys have a great experience working with them as well. So be sure to ring them up if you're looking to rent, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to finance, and let them know you heard about them here on the show as well. I'd also like to do a huge shout out to all of our Patreons as well, because patreon.com/mydvcpoints is a great way to sign up and you can support the show as well. And after the show, we hang out over at Discord, where you can go to discord.mydvcpoints.com and join us in Chad's hard-ticketed event for an after-show discussion as to what's going on, and then just hanging out with Patreons and the cast and crew that puts on our shows. So we'd love to have you guys join us there as well. That's all we've got for tonight, everybody. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll be back next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Wow.
Good night.